What's up, guys? V&M Bass Pro Justin Woodall here. Today we're going to talk a little bit about fall fishing in Louisiana. It's not really cold here yet. It's still hot one day, cold the next, just like Louisiana weather always is. It was 43 degrees the other morning, and today it was 91 degrees at one point on the water. So what that tells me is the fish, they're wanting to move deep, getting their wintertime patterns, but they're really not able to yet because the water temperature is just fluctuating so drastically. They're not really too sure what to do. We went out today and I tried to do a couple type of winter patterns, you know, see if there were some fish moving out deep on some points, throwing a crankbait, Carolina rigging a little bit, which didn't really find it. So I went back to my roots. I just went flipping. It's like I know how to do what I'm comfortable at doing. When I started flipping, I was missing a lot of fish. I was getting a lot of bites, but they weren't really taking it very aggressively. They were soft biting it, or I'd pick it up and they were just barely ticking it. But what that told me is I kind of needed to up my bait a little bit. They weren't liking what I was using, or for some reason they just didn't want to take the bait. So what I did was I upped my size on what I was throwing. I changed and had a lot of success today on the V&M Pacemaker Adrenaline Flipping Jig. And I was throwing that in a ½ ounce size in Bama Bug color. And I was throwing a V&M Baby Swamp Hog as a trailer. And every once in a while I would change it up if the bites kind of slowed down or I started missing a couple. And I would put the V&M Swamp Hog in a regular size on there, and I would just bite the tip of the head off just to give it a little bit bulkier presentation. And that seemed to be what they really wanted today. When I started flipping this and started really aggressively targeting different types of structure, I was catching a lot of fish, and it seemed like they wanted that fast action, heavy fall, something they could hit very aggressively at. But when that bite slowed down a little bit, we changed to one of my go-to baits, which is the V&M Split Tail Beaver. I throw this bait religiously. It's one of my favorite baits to flip on any lake. It is always a bait I have tied on the front deck of my boat. But today I had to up the size of the weight. I was pegging a ½ ounce Elite Tungsten weight on it, and it seemed to do the trick. It gave the fish the type of fall they wanted, presented the bait how they wanted it, and was able to get some very good hookup ratios to it. But when that slowed down and I kind of went up into the river a little bit and started flipping from river riprap and stuff, I was throwing the V&M Wild Thing 8.5 worm and black and blue glitter also. A lot of times people think that fishing a big worm they need to be fishing in the summer, or they're just not comfortable fishing it at all. Because it is kind of an intimidating bait to throw, and you think that you might not get a lot of big fish to strike at it, or even small fish. But this bait, it puts off such a big vibration and a big presentation in the water that sometimes the fish, when they're wanting an aggressive bite, they just can't help but strike at it. And when I was throwing this, I didn't have to put that big of a weight on it because it's got such a big, bulky presentation, and it gets down through the water good and gives off good vibration as it is. I didn't need to up the size of my weight at all. And we caught some good fish on this today also, but our key baits, like I said, it seemed to be the V&M Split Tail Beaver and the Pacemaker Flipping Jig. So when you're out on the lake, if you're having trouble, if you're on your local lake and you're having trouble catching fish like you normally do, don't be afraid to change it up. Whether it be downsizing a bait, upsizing a bait, whatever it may be, you've got all day on the water. So just try whatever you think you might work, and always remember to go with your gut instinct. Fishing is all about confidence, and when you're on the water, if you think something might work, it's never going to hurt to try it. You might learn something from it. So until next time, good luck, tight lines, and remember to give fish what they really want.